I'm Tuffy Stone, and this is my Apple Brined Pork Tenderloin with the celery seed white barbecue sauce. So I'm from Virginia. We raise a lot of pork in Virginia. We also grow a lot of apples. In this recipe, I'm blending the two. We're gonna make an apple juice brine. We're gonna have beautiful pork tenderloins. If you follow me on my other YouTube videos, or you have read my cookbook, you know I'm a big fan of brines. They're a really great way, a really great vehicle of soaking in some flavor into the meat and just getting a little bit more dynamic flavor. With this recipe, we've got brown sugar, we've got black peppercorns, we've got fennel, we've got kosher salt, bay leaves, crushed red pepper, and some coriander. Just like all my other brine recipes, we're not cooking this brine. We want it to be in the refrigerator for no less than 24 hours before we go to brine the pork tenderloin, because the flavor development is going to come through osmosis. So just know that the brine is going to be best used if it's in the refrigerator for 24 to 48 hours. We're going to start by adding 1 quart plus 1 cup of apple juice to a bowl. 1/4 cup of kosher salt, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of whole coriander, 4 whole bay leaves, 1 tablespoon plus 1/2 teaspoon of whole black peppercorns. I want to stay consistently difficult. 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of whole fennel. And lastly, 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. So we're just gonna stir this until the sugar and the salts dissolve. You do not wanna use the brine until it's been refrigerated for at least 24 hours, but it's good for at least a week. So you could make this in advance and use it the day of that you need it. I always say, buy the best quality meat that you can afford. So this here is Chairman's Reserve prime pork. It's a pork that I love a lot. It's got good marbling, good flavor. But let's talk about a really crucial step when it comes to cooking pork tenderloin or pork loin. One of the best things that happened to the pork industry, in my opinion, is when the USDA finally said you don't have to, they were recommending that you cook all pork to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Anybody that knows pork really well knows that if we cook a pork shoulder or ham or ribs to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, it's gonna be tough, it's not gonna be tender. But also, those same people know that if we cook pork loin or pork tenderloin to 165 degrees, it's going to be overcooked. So the USDA brought down the internal doneness that they recommended we cook pork to 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Part of the reason for this is we changed the way that we fed our hogs. You could potentially get trichinosis if we did not cook that pork to 165 degrees. But long time ago, we changed the way that we feed and raise our hogs, and we have not had a documented case of trichinosis here in the States for a very long time. My mom, if she was still alive, she would not eat pork if it wasn't cooked well done. But I'm gonna recommend to you to cook the pork probably to about 140 degrees. You're gonna see when we cook this dish that once we take it off a grill, it'll still continue to cook. It's called carryover cooking. But a key step with really delicious pork tenderloin and pork loin is do not overcook it. So the first thing we're gonna do to the pork tenderloin is we're gonna give it a light trim, remove the silver skin membrane, but that's pretty much it. All right, so my pork tenderloins are all trimmed up. I've got my apple juice brine. I'm gonna put the pork tenderloins into this bowl, strain the brine through my strainer till the pork tenderloins are covered. All right, so my pork tenderloins in the apple brine, I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator for 2 hours. I've taken my pork tenderloin out of the apple brine, patted them dry. Now I'm gonna season them with my Tuffy Stone Everything seasoning. We're gonna put a light to moderate coat of rub on here. There's no sugar in this, so it's very salt forward. A lot of times when I'm done cooking, I'll take a slice and taste it. If I feel like it needs a little pop of flavor, I just put an additional sprinkle on after I've cooked it. So I'm gonna let these rubbed pork tenderloins sit here for about 15 minutes before I put them on the grill. As always, I got my grill set up 2-zone, hot coals, cool side. These are gonna be really quick to cook. Big key with pork tenderloin and pork loin is let's not overcook it. We're gonna cook it to about 140 degrees Fahrenheit, pull it off, let it rest. It'll continue to cook once it's off the grill. I'll cook these pork tenderloins directly over the coals till they have a nice color. If they're not done yet, I'll move them over to the side, close the lid, let them cook till they're about 140 degrees Fahrenheit. As these pork tenderloins have been cooking directly over the coals, I've been turning them often, trying to not burn the exterior. The sugars in that apple brine can cause it to pick up a lot of color. And I'm just coming in reinforcing a little bit of that apple flavor by misting with apple juice. I always say about saucing your meat at the end. What I mean by that is when your meat is cooked to the doneness that you're looking for, then apply your sauce. With these pork tenderloins, I'm gonna apply my celery seed white barbecue sauce. You can find the recipe on my YouTube channel. You can find the recipe tuffystone.com or in my cookbook. You could use so many sauces with this preparation right here. We could do a barbecue sauce. You could use a steak sauce. We could really get fanciful and maybe do a brown butter bacon sauce. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of one of those before, but you know, just, yeah, and the real truth is, if we don't overcook this pork tenderloin, it doesn't even need sauce. Just gonna close the lid briefly. The grill's running pretty hot. You'll see it goes from this white opaque color to it's gonna look like it's lacquered after I close the lid. The sauce is set. I'm gonna pull it off. We'll let it rest, then we'll slice it. All right, my pork tenderloins have rested. Now we're gonna slice them. A drizzle of my celery seed white barbecue sauce. And just a quick sprinkle of my everything rub. And now my favorite part, it's time to check and see how we did. Now that's the good stuff.